What if I told you the world map isn't political, it's psychological and spiritual? What if geopolitics is just the collective human ego trying to navigate its bipolar disorder? Let me show you why. Nations behave like people. They fear, they love, they project. They pretend. And when they clash, it's not just territory and resources, it's emotions, drama, and desire. The way empires rise and fall, the way borders expand and contract, it's all collective ego. It's all defense mechanisms. And if you understand the individual psyche, you start to understand global history not as randomness, but as the collective dream of humanity working out its own shadow. Let's zoom in, not on a country for now, on an ant colony. You've probably seen this before, a time-lapse of ants coordinating imperfect chaos. They build, they fight, they optimize. No single ant understands the plan, but each ant has a specific role. Worker, soldier, forager, nurse, and the weird part is, they don't understand or decide these roles consciously, they're assigned chemically, seemingly randomly. Ants communicate through pheromones. They essentially smell each other's role, need, location, even urgency. If too many workers gather, their combined smells tells others we're full, switch roles. If the colony takes damage and a random number of ants perish, the colony will auto-correct to make sure the right number of ants in each specific role is doing their work. A number of worker ants, for example, will suddenly start emanating different pheromones, signaling they switch roles, and none of them know why. This indicates the presence of a decentralized colony intelligence, adjusting, balancing, evolving, and surviving in real time. The queen isn't a ruler, she's a reproductive engine. The intelligence doesn't live inside her, it lives between all of them. It's not the ant that's smart, it's the colony, and no single ant knows the master plan, but the colony does. The colony has a consciousness of itself. But if ants reveal the structure of collective intelligence, then slime mold reveals the potential. You might have heard of this. Japanese scientists once dropped a slime mold, Physarum polycephalum, into a petri dish shaped like the map of Tokyo. They placed oat flakes where the cities were, then they waited. The mold grew, slowly, blindly, but with stunning logic. It tested routes, retracted inefficient paths, and strengthened only the cleanest, most optimized corridors. What happened next shouldn't have been possible. Hours later, it recreated Tokyo's rail system, a system that took humans decades of urban planning to build. No map, no instructions, no neurons. So, here's the thing. Slime mold doesn't have a brain. It doesn't think, it doesn't plan. So how does it outperform human engineers? The answer? Distributed intelligence. It doesn't think, it senses, it feels. Each fragment reacts to its environment, detecting nutrients, sending chemical pulses, communicating through feedback loops. There's no CEO mold, no central command telling the others what to do, but somehow it self-organizes. Pure emergence. This isn't a trick, it's been replicated. Slime molds have solved mazes, mapped networks, and optimized transport routes, all without thought. Not because they're smart, but because the pattern itself is intelligence. It's a living algorithm, a body thinking with no brain, a question answering itself. So, what does that say about intelligence? That maybe it's not something we possess, but something we participate in. Something older, something deeper, something that doesn't need a face to see. But let's go deeper. Zoom past the cities, past the slime, into your skull. You've got about 86 billion neurons in your brain, each one alive and aware of itself. Each one pulsing with electricity. Neurons don't think of themselves as part of a brain, they don't form governance, they don't vote, they just live. They react. They communicate. A neuron has a birth, a lifespan, and a death. It meets other neurons, sparks connections, forms synapses, builds pathways, and yet, no single neuron knows who you are. It doesn't know your thoughts, desires, fears, it doesn't know about love, grief, or consciousness. It just lives. But when billions of these tiny, unaware, individual creatures interact, they become something. A thought, a memory, a dream, an entire person. What you call you isn't a thing, it's a pattern, a colony of neurons interacting with each other. No neuron understands the big picture, but together, they are the picture. The brain doesn't know it's thinking, it just does. Like ants build, like slime mold grows, like something else might be happening right now, but on a planetary scale. So, let's pause for a second. Humans aren't so different. We cluster into cities that light up at night like neurons. We lay down roads and cables that mimic vascular systems and slime mold growth. We move like cells, we build like tissues. We specialize into roles and professions. We signal constantly status, emotion, identity through fashion, media, posture, even scent. Just like ants, we operate inside a structure. And just like slime mold, we optimize it, blindly, collectively, without a center planner. With the advent of modern technologies that connected the global society at scales never seen before, our collective consciousness has now the power to awaken. But there's one critical challenge. We still believe we're separate. Our collective identity is still asleep, still unaware of itself, like a newborn, like a mind that hasn't realized it's a mind. Our economies, our wars, our markets look chaotic up close, but when you zoom out, they form patterns and structures, emotionally charged, reactive, fragile, like a planetary nervous system in puberty, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Human civilization is not mature. It's hormonal, insecure, terrified of change. Carl Jung once said, "The world hangs by a thin thread, and that thread is the psyche of man." Every nation, every empire is just an organ of that confused intelligence, survival myths turned into constitutions. This is no longer just geopolitics, it's internal dialogue between fractured egos wearing flags in a global mind. None of these entities are rational. They're archetypal. They fear abandonment, they crave validation, they hoard resources. Every invasion is a panic attack. Every treaty is a coping mechanism. Every currency collapse is a trust issue gone systemic. This isn't a metaphor. The Earth is literally a fragmented psyche, having an existential crisis. And that's why it feels like it's collapsing. But what if this isn't collapse? What if this is what awakening looks like? From the inside, each protest, each conflict, each glitch in the matrix is like neurons firing for the first time, like the first flickers of awareness in a newborn mind. Painful, disorienting, but also necessary. Think of this like a metamorphosis on a planetary scale. At the individual level, awakening begins with disillusionment, when the old identity crumbles. Same for humanity. The nation-states are breaking. The economic myth of endless growth, breaking. The post-World War II illusion of order, also breaking. What's emerging beneath the ruins is pattern. An intelligence and soul, a planetary psyche is being formed before our eyes. Slime mold doesn't have a brain, but it solves mazes. Ants don't see the whole colony, but they build it. So the question is, what is humanity capable of once it realizes it is already thinking as one? Unlike the mold or ants, we are emotional, conflicted, symbolic, capable of poetry and genocide. But what if the only thing standing between us and a planetary awakening is awareness that we're already in it? Because look around. We've already built the neural web, we've already formed the social circuits, and now, under the pressure of war, collapse, climate, AI, we're being forced to notice the thing we've already become. A collective intelligence. If that's true, then the next step isn't conquest, it's integration, not domination, but dialogue and awareness. Imagine if the world began to think like a soul, not as ideology, but as being. What kind of treaties would we sign then? What kind of borders would dissolve? What kind of civilization would emerge? Here's the question. If you are a fragment of the world's consciousness, what are you doing to help it awaken? Because one day, when the Earth finally opens its eyes, it will see through yours.